All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're diving into a really captivating explainer about a boy, an ancient village, and a cosmic mystery that is absolutely going to change how you think about paying attention. We're exploring a beautiful story called The Melody of the Celestial Messenger, and as we go through this, we're going to uncover a pretty powerful lesson about community, listening, and what true wisdom actually looks like. So, I want you to imagine for a second a world where the night sky isn't just a blanket of silent, twinkling lights, but a massive cosmic chorus with a crucial message. What if the stars were literally trying to tell us something? It makes you wonder, how often do we look right past the extraordinary just because we assume it's totally ordinary? Section 1. The Boy Who Listened. Okay, so we meet a boy named Oliver. While everyone else in his quiet little village was fast asleep, Oliver spent his nights awake on a hill, just looking up. Now, the villagers? They laughed at him. They were absolutely convinced that stars didn't talk. But because Oliver had tuned in closely enough, he actually heard it. It was this soft, distant melody carried by the wind. The stars were actually singing. And the crazy thing is, these weren't just random musical notes. As Oliver went back night after night, he started to pick up on a pattern. The stars were singing the stories of everyone on Earth. Each song carried a specific message, tales of courage, kindness, patience, and hope. By simply being willing to listen, he was essentially tapping into this massive, universal broadcast of the human experience. Section 2. A Warning in the Sky. Things take a sharp turn one evening, though, when a completely new star appears, and it is shining way brighter than all the rest. It completely broke the harmony. Instead of the familiar, peaceful melodies Oliver was used to, this new star produced a sound that was distinctly anxious. It wasn't singing about hope or patience anymore. It was literally sounding an alarm. Oliver managed to translate a deeply chilling message from that bright star. It said, "A great darkness is coming." That immediately set his heart racing with dread. He didn't know exactly what it meant at first, but the sheer urgency in that celestial melody told him this was seriously bad news. Well, he didn't have to wait long to find out. The Great Darkness wasn't some literal shadow in the sky, it was a devastating drought that hit the village incredibly hard. The river completely dried up, fields turned brown, crops stopped growing, and as food grew scarce, the social fabric of the village just began to tear. It pushed these frightened villagers right to the brink of abandoning their homes entirely. But Oliver refused to just sit back and watch his community fall apart. He went right back to the stars for help. He listened as intently as he could, and finally, the bright star gave him this incredibly cryptic geographic clue. The answer lies where the first river was born. Section 3. The Ancient Well. Now, nobody in the village had a clue what that meant, but Oliver decided to take action anyway. Armed with that cryptic message and some packed food, he heads out on this grueling 3-day trek. We're talking crossing dense forests, climbing steep rocky paths, and finally following an entirely dry riverbed upstream until he reaches this hidden valley high up in the mountains. Right at the center of this hidden valley, he doesn't find a magical flowing spring. Instead, he finds this ancient stone well, older than anything he had ever seen. And carved right into the solid rock is this poetic riddle. Water flows where hearts flow together. Now, the village needed water, not riddles, right? So what could this possibly mean? The physical reality of the situation hits Oliver pretty hard. The ancient well was surrounded by dozens of these small channels, but they were completely choked with years of rocks, debris, and total neglect. Oliver worked all day trying to clear them out, but it quickly became obvious that the task was just way too massive for one boy to tackle alone. Section 4. Hearts Flowing Together. Exhausted, Oliver heads back to his skeptical, argumentative village and practically begs for help. At first, people just laughed at him. I mean, how could clearing old rocks bring back the water? But on day 1, a few believers decide to tag along. Then, by days 2 through 6, this massive shift happens. More villagers arrive, the arguing completely stops, and they all start clearing the stones together. They were literally fulfilling the ancient well's riddle by working toward one single shared goal. And then, on day 7, a low rumble echoes through the valley. All that collective physical and emotional labor finally paid off. Crystal clear water burst out from the old well, rushing into those newly cleared channels and flowing right back down into the river. Cheers just filled the air. By finally coming together, the village was saved. It's a real game changer. That night, Oliver goes back up to his hill. The bright star is still shining above him, but its song is totally joyful now. The star tells him, "You listened." But Oliver has this beautiful exchange where he firmly shares the credit. He whispers back, "No, we listened." It's this profound realization that individual insight just isn't enough. It actually takes community action to create real change. After that, the star glows brighter than ever before and slowly fades out into the night. Section 5. The Power of Listening. Fast forward years later, and Oliver grew up to become the absolute most trusted leader in the village. Whenever people faced problems and came to him for wisdom, he always gave them this exact same advice: listen carefully. The world speaks more often than we think. Now, the villagers thought he was just talking about human empathy, totally unaware of his cosmic secret. But Oliver? He knew he was talking about the stars, the environment, and the universe at large. Because true wisdom isn't about being the loudest voice in the room. It comes from listening. And I don't just mean passively hearing background noise, but listening with patience, humility, and an open heart. It requires quieting our own internal arguments and paying humble attention to our surroundings, just exactly like the villagers had to stop their bickering to finally end the drought. So I'm going to leave you with this final thought to ponder. Are you sitting quietly enough to hear the song? What important messages, opportunities, or even warnings in your own life might you be totally missing simply because you aren't listening closely enough? The world is absolutely speaking. The question is, are you ready to tune in? Thanks so much for exploring this fantastic explainer with me today.